Good morning. My name is Rose Speck, and I'm a deacon here at Holy Communion Church. Have you ever heard of or actually seen an episode of The Millionaire? I'm talking about the one that ran from 1955 to 1960 by CBS. You'd have to be about my age. I watched it weekly in those days. I lived in a very small farming community in South Dakota. We had about 3 hours of TV at night, and not every night, and usually 3 to 4 hours on the weekends. During the summer, we got the New York Yankee games. And if my chores were done and my mom said it was okay, I never missed a game. Therefore, my love of baseball. The Millionaire was exciting too because the show explored ways how unexpected wealth changed people's lives. The $1 million of 1960 would be worth about $10 million today. The money was given secretly through a benefactor. There wasn't always a positive outcome. Usually there was, but sometimes not. Sometimes it was given to a widow or a woman with a sick child, and the story would go on to describe how they used the money not just for themselves, but shared it with others with similar circumstances. Then other times, the money was given to a person with relative wealth or no apparent needs, and the story would revolve around how they would misuse the money or squander it, much like lottery winners today, who blow their money, and statistically within 2 to 3 years. In looking back, I do remember thinking, why can't people be more generous and share? I think the point of the show was to be wise with an unexpected gift and have the courage to make wise decisions. Choices weren't always black or white, but better or worse, and sometimes good and evil. In our first reading in Kings, when the Lord gave Solomon choices and would grant him anything, more riches, long life, health, Solomon did not choose riches or more stuff. He chose wisdom, an understanding heart, to be able to judge people justly and to distinguish between right and wrong. In our gospel reading today, Jesus gave us examples of what the kingdom of heaven is like. The first two parables are very similar, like a treasure buried in a field, like a merchant searching for a fine pearl. Choose the treasure, choose the pearl. Such as heaven. Nothing is as valuable or as secure as a place in God's kingdom. An immeasurable value. Sell everything to give up darkness for light. Sell everything to secure a place in the kingdom of heaven. Jesus is not saying live on the streets. Jesus is telling us that he comes first. Choose Jesus. The third parable, that of sorting the fish, is like the harvest parable of last week. Sorting the wheat from the weeds and sorting the good fish from the bad fish. Harvesting the wheat and burning the weeds. How are you right now with God? Are you wheat or weeds? Loyalty to God or loyalty to yourselves? Wheat or weeds? The inference there is not that there will be a reckoning, not man's judgment, but God's judgment. Choose Jesus. Seek the good, relish the good, strive to be the good. When we ready our hearts, we empty our hearts and receive God's grace as we do in confession, whether you do it privately or in the confessional. We ready ourselves so we can receive the grace and sustenance, food from the Lord, such as we do when we receive the Eucharist. We act out the treasure in the fields, the pearls, the very best fish in Matthew 6:21. For where your treasure is, there also will your heart be. I am extremely grateful for this time of my life. Even though I am widowed, my life is full with family and friends. My life is Jesus. My heart is my children and my grandchildren, and this church is my home. Christ does not want to be part of your life. He wants you to be part of his life. Christ does not want to be part of your life. He wants you to be part of his life. An analogy would be a man marries a woman. He doesn't say, I choose you. He says, I choose no other. No to all other women. Jesus left the throne in heaven to come after us. He is not asking us to do anything that he has not already done. The kingdom of heaven demands, choose Jesus. Getting rid of darkness to see light. He is saying, do what I have done for you. Give yourself to me. Choose Jesus. J.D. Long Garcia, an editor of America Magazine, writes, my true self recognizes that I am in relation to God. Losing my life means surrendering my ego day after day. Rather than strive to make something of myself, I must allow God to make something of me. When I recognize who my Father truly is, then I see who I am called to be. As it says in Psalm 84, one day within your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. When I was visiting my son Peter, his wife Elisa, and their 4 children in Texas some time ago, my granddaughter Beth, who was 4 or 5 at the time, maybe 5 or 6, gave me a gift. She was always giving me something to take home, either for me or for one of the other grandchildren. It's a shield. It's kind of faded, and you can't read it very well, but it says, the spirit who lives in you is greater than the spirit that lives in the world. The spirit that lives in the world, the spirit who lives in you is greater than the spirit who lives in the world. How about that for evangelizing? Out of the mouths of children, she has chosen Jesus. Choose wisely, choose Jesus. As Jesus said, do what I have done for you. Give yourself to me. Choose wisely, choose Jesus.